Hello everybody, we are back at the UKG 2022 and I am joined by Chris and we're over to take a look at what's going on with the Cursed Empire. So, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your game?
Thank you very much. Hi everybody, having a really good show, I hope everybody else is. Really glad to be here. We're actually launching our Thraos ecosystem of games based on my old RPG published 10 years ago. I had 10 books in print at the time, 2,000 pages in print, and we're now looking at doing a third edition of this game. We've now built a whole ecosystem of games, not just the RPG, but we'll talk you through some of the other stuff we're doing. So I'll just put this down.
Sure. So we're starting off then with, what's this, a large strategy area control, is it, or?
Basically what this is, a bit of background first of all to the setting. The continent you see here, this little cape here, is actually this area here, which I GM'd in for 30 years in the RPG. This area we've mapped out. There are 80 cities, towns and villages in this area to this level of detail over here, which is the individual city map. We have 30 city maps mapped out, and basically all these different games can be played as standalone games, and I'll explain what each of them are, or they can be brought together for an epic campaign in the setting. So basically you have here, this is War Galleys of Thraos, which we have as a prototype here. It's going to Kickstarter in the autumn. It's basically a high seas adventure pirate slash sea monster game where you have to manage resources, manage risk, fight enemy fleets and face off different situations and voyages. But also you have the option to, with additional mission cards, to tie in with the Heroes of Thraos card game, where you basically either play these cards out in the card game mechanics, or you zoom into this encounter and play out a whole separate game to earn that card as a trophy. So this is going to Kickstarter. We're doing sign-ups for a chance to win the game as well. And then just moving on to the Heroes of Thraos game here. This was funded on Kickstarter last year, is now shipping, it's now been commercialized, and basically this is a game that gets you into the Thraos setting. It's a solo game. There's a PvP version as well of the game. There's also co-op mode, what we call story mode, where you can also experience the game campaign, but also design your own stories with the card game. So you have 4 types of cards. There are character cards that come in the normal status of the character with might, mind and mysticism stats, exactly the same as the 3rd edition RPG. There's also a reverse side of the card where you have an injured status of the character, reduced stats but different in-game effects. Sometimes the in-game effects are more useful when you're injured. You have booster cards which then come and boost the stats of the characters. So you get a column of stats here, the additional powers, and you then face off other characters to earn victory points. When you build your party of 4 characters, you total up the point value, and that's your victory point threshold. So as a player, from the outset, you determine
how difficult the game is.
Exactly. So you also have action cards, which are mainly the bestiary of the game setting. Various creatures you can throw, or curses you can put against other players, and make life much more difficult for the other opposing player. You also have, in the story mode, as I said, fixed campaigns, or you can design your own stories, like a GM. Using the mission cards, you can lay them out and build a story path with a starting card and literally design your own scenario, or do it on the fly, where you have convergence points. You could even hide loot under cards and build like a mini scenario, and you move your party along the story path as you go along with the same game mechanics.
So you're saying that the stat line follows the RPG.
Correct.
Is the core mechanics the same across the various games, or are they tied in different ways?
They're tied in different ways. The bridge is normally the mission card in this case, but you also go down to street level adventuring, where, for example, if you want to pick up one of these cards here, you either play this card as part of Heroes of Thraos, or you go down to street level and then you get a dungeon crawler. So literally, there's a complete ecosystem of different games. They're all standalone, solo, co-op versus, all of them are. But you can also put them out on your game table and have this sprawling campaign game, an epic gaming session over a 4 or 5 hour evening, where you've had seagoing adventures, you've visited 2 or 3 cities, you've gone down to street level, and then you've even role-played in an encounter if you want to.
It's things like that where you have such a diverse set of games at different scales as well, means that you can dip in and dip out at the levels you want to. So, so if you're playing the RPG and maybe then you want to go on and do the sea battle, because that's very difficult to do as an RPG somehow. 4 people are not a crew. But then you can blow up play this out, and then just come back in and drop in wherever you want. Or if you're not a miniatures gamer, stick to the cards if you're not CCG. Yeah,
exactly.
I love it.
And the other thing is also, you'll see the consistency in terms of the artwork. We have a minis range now, of course, as well, sculpted by Dan Kelly, who'll be here this afternoon. And we're doing a complete miniatures range that ties across the whole set of games. The other thing is we're finding with gaming groups who have different gaming styles or tastes. You may have a bunch of Magic the Gathering gamers, some War gamers, some Euro games gamers. Actually, by getting into the ecosystem, they all get their gaming fix. They can kind of rotate gaming styles, but still progress a story arc or a campaign. So,
I see there's some miniatures here that they haven't been released yet, or are these...
Correct. No, these are literally pre-production. There's a set of 7 for sale by Dan Kelly, and you can see here that they tie in with the artwork from the card game, and we're selling them at the show for the first time. These will eventually go to Kickstarter as part of a bigger Kickstarter, but this is an exclusive we're doing at the moment.
So if people want to find you at the event, where do they come to?
This is Hall 1, is stand 1452.
Okay. And if they can't get to the expo, where do they find you?
Online. So cursedempire.com, and you'll find me there and the rest of us lurking somewhere online.
There you go, folks. Let us know what you think of this sprawling epic fantasy world. We're going to move on and take a look at what else is here at the expo.